Guys, today we are going to be having a mathematics class. Sorry. No, we are not having any mathematics class. But today we are going to be having a breakdown on how you can become a millionaire on low income. Or when your salary is very low, this video is going to be for you because we all have to make that money. Not just me. I want to become a millionaire, right? Yes, you know all that, but I want you to come along with me because I just don't want to be lonely on this journey. So we all have to make that, millions. For me, I already made my first million. So this breakdown might not be for those who already have, like their first million or whatever. But if you want to multiply your income, I feel like the principles we are going to be discussing in this video can be applied to you as well. So you might want to buckle up, carry your pen and paper because we are going back to serious math class. Yes, I have all my details right here. Hi guys, so I'm currently at work here, and while I'm editing my video that I'm going to upload, I realize that many of you that watch my videos, you've not subscribed to the channel. Like, why now? Why have you not subscribed to the channel? Please, while we're on this our journey to becoming a millionaire, I want you guys to like, subscribe, join the family, and let's all get to the millionaire status that we're all trying to get to. But while at it, look at those guys, they're looking at me. But first, you know that 75% of the world's population that are rich today, they are all self-made? Yes, like 2/3 of the world's rich people that we celebrate today, all these people are self-made. So that just goes to show you that you don't necessarily have to have rich parents to become a millionaire. So it is possible for you and I to achieve whatever we want to achieve, but we have some steps that we need to take if we want to achieve this and do it properly. So for you who has very low income, especially in this part of the world where it feels like even having your first million now is very hard, but if you're in America and you think that what I'm talking about is not really concerning you, but
I said, hold up, wait a minute,
you can still apply it. It's just a matter of multiplication, plus minus, all of that. We just have to apply it to our environment and how it suits us. Yes, I know Americans living wage system and all that is different, but trust me, whatever plus and minus we do in this video can be applied to you as well. So now, the main purpose of this video is to share with you how we can become a millionaire when you have low income, right? But there are like 5 to 6 steps that I've outlined that you can use to kickstart this your journey, because this method can still be applied to someone who does not even have any source of income right now. So let's get started. The very first thing you need to know, you have to be honest about your situation. Like, acknowledge what your current situation is. Is your income next to nothing? Is it something that you can apply this math to? So the first thing you need to do is to acknowledge your current situation. If you need to get a job, get a job. If you are one that you feel like you're starting your business, you want to do your own business, just start that. But all you need to know is that where am I right now with my finances? Is it something that I can kickstart and then become a millionaire over time? Or is it, okay, I've been neglecting this stuff for too long, let me just go and start back at it? But just basically acknowledging where you are. Second is to start earning. After you acknowledge, you need to earn money to be able to make money. Guys, I did not know about this until I started working, because I feel like most people tell you money is this, rich people are that, rich people are this, but we never tend to acknowledge the fact that whoever is rich today that we are celebrating today, they basically started earning first before they just learned how to multiply it over time. Because when you look at it now, let's say like the likes of Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, yes, they dropped out of school and all that, but have we thought of their starting point? Like, what did they start doing in the initial point that even generated them their first income? So we will have to start earning to be able to multiply whatever you're earning in the first place. This was very practical to me in the sense that okay, when I was doing because this job I currently have now is like my second job. So my first job was basically one that I had to take because I was tired of staying at home. Those salaries when you are living in Anthony, but then you're working in Lekki, but then your salary is 70,000. You have to pay transport to go to your work, transport to go back. You have to feed yourself. So basically, at the end of the month, I don't even think I was getting up to 10K as my own money. But then I was working, in a company that wanted to manufacture creams and all that. So it was very useful for my own qualification because I read industrial chemistry in school. Now I work in the finance industry. You know how Nigeria can, twist and turn your dreams for you. But I just had to basically learn about money myself from, because we always send news about the current economic situation of Nigeria, what's happening, and then coupled with my own knowledge and what I've learned, because I want to learn how to make money. So That aside, you need to start earning to make money. Trust me, that is very true. So after that my first job, I entered this job. I only got to find out that like the more money you make, the more you can multiply the money you are making. Like, let's say I was earning 70,000 then. I was basically having only 10,000 at the end of the month. So I could not really use that money for anything because you have to buy clothes, you have to buy shoes. After all, I'm a girl, I need to, pimp up and all of that. But then now in this my current job, I found out that there was a difference in the way I can save. Like on this channel, I've talked about investing in NTB, my cooperative in my company, like investing in a business. All this was possible because I had a higher income. So if you have a low income, like the formulas we are going to use is what I used to start in the very first place. So you might want to listen up. So next is to start saving a percentage of your salary every month. Now this maths we are having here will now come to play very soon because we are going to get technical very soon. But the idea is to start saving a percentage of what you are earning every month. So one practical percentage I can give you, at least from what I've tried over time, is 5%. If you're earning higher, you can increase this percentage, according to how you can manage your other basic needs. But for me, what has worked for me over time is using 5%. So having this set percentage that you are saving every month to make you create like a disciplined situation whereby you don't compromise on it. Like if you're saying today I'm saving 10%, tomorrow I'm saving 5%, like having different percentage is not very sustainable. But then when you have like this fixed percentage that you're always saving every month, okay, for me now, I've talked several times about how I have this my budget that I've spent my salary on since 2021. Before my salary even comes, I already create this budget because I find that it makes it easier for me to like spend my money more wisely, other than when the money comes first before I start creating the budget, because that time I now start seeing immediate things that I need to use the money for. Then at the end of the day, the main things I was supposed to use that money for, I end up not using it to do that thing. But when you have a fixed percentage, when you create a budget beforehand and then remove this percentage as your savings, it is more easier to do that. So for this, we are going to be using somebody who is earning 100,000 as a salary. Like every month you are earning 100,000. So this will be our case study for this. So like I said, I have this written down, so I might have to put it like on the board for you to get practical with me. So like you might see it on one corner of the screen, just get along with me. But the main idea is that, let's say you are earning 100,000 per month. At the end of the year, you are supposed to earn 1.2 million at the end of the year. Like let's say you don't, just putting it practical, like this is what you are earning at the end of the year. When you now multiply this by 5%, which is now 0.05, you end up having 60,000 as what you get at the end of the year as your savings. That's if you are removing 5% of what you are earning every month. So if you keep doing this, I'm sad saying this, but if you are earning 100,000 and you are only able to remove 5%, you will still need at least 16.6 years to like become a millionaire. Which, if you now start factoring inflation and all that, it might take you like 20 years. So with this being like this current situation, we'll have to increase the percentage, let's say 10%. I still feel like if you decide to stay with your parents, if you decide to cut down costs, if you decide to like just live within 90,000, you can still use 10% as your savings percentage, because the more you spend 90,000, the more you learn how to carve your life around that 90,000. So whatever amount you decide that you're going to be saving every month, you just find that you are fitting every other thing into the remaining part of your salary. So for practical, and let's say we don't want to just cut off everything we are earning because we are trying to cut costs, we'll say 10%, because 5% is going to take us a long time to become a millionaire. So 10% now, we are going to have to use 10%, and at the end of the year we'll end up saving 120,000 naira every year as our interest. This is just a flat out interest, and this will now take us 8.3 years to make our first million. You see that when you double your savings, the thing naturally just start reducing the amount of years you need to get your first million. So you might want to use the 10% instead of the 5%, because if you are not earning more than 100,000, if you are using 200,000, the 5% can still work for you, because at the end of the year you still end up saving like 160,000. But if you are only able to earn 100,000, you might want to use 10% and just carve your life around the remaining 90,000. Now let's say you want to just go further, and the more you multiply this thing, the more it becomes faster for you to become a millionaire. But I only ended this my calculation at 11%, because that's even still like a stretch, because with the current times things are very expensive. I don't want to disregard that. You need, let's say you now decide to use 11%, because you've overstretched yourself a little bit. You are going to be saving 132,000 at the end of the year, and with this you will need 7.5 years to become a millionaire. You see, like, just by adding 1% to 10%, it now made a huge difference. So just try and see how every other thing can fit in, but then you still have a good percentage that will make it faster for you to earn your first million, like, in a lesser amount of years. But then, let's say you now decide to use the next option, or the next method I would advise you to use for you to become a millionaire faster, which is using high savings interest platforms. If you leave your money in a bank, aunty, uncle, your money will not make you any money that will be enough to make you become a millionaire. I know. So the highest I've ever left in a bank was like 3 million. So what I mean left in the bank is that I did not really have so much use for it. So I was just always adding, a percentage of my salary, because it's not just enough to, like, have cooperative, have NTB. You still have to remove money for emergency funds, right? But then what I usually do then was to, like, remove a percentage of my salary and be putting it into this bank account, and it grew up to 3 million. I believe that time I was even saving up for a car, so it was more easier for me to say, okay, I had something I was looking forward to, then I could still use it for emergency funds and all that. But let's say you are saving up for a car, or you are saving up for something, and you are removing a percentage of your salary every month. I found out that when I had up to 3 million, the bank was only paying me 13,000 like every month as my interest. And this is because I did not go to that account to withdraw any money more than 3 times. In Nigerian banks, if you have a savings account, you should not go to that account more than 3 times. If not, you're not getting any interest. And Nigerians have this habit of creating a savings account instead of creating a current account, because if you are going to be collecting 2k every month from that, every time from that salary, that's no longer a savings account, it is a current account. But then we'll create a savings account and be operating it as a current account, then you will not have any interest. I saw a TikTok post where somebody talked about money, and then Nigerians are saying, like, they don't give you interest in bank. I'm like, it's because you're going to that bank every day to go and collect money. Who will give you any interest? After all, those banks are in it to make money. And I think currently we are still at 4%. I don't know if they've increased it, but the interesting thing is, you don't sometimes get alert for your interest until you pay in another money into the account. Then you now say that, okay, your money has increased. This is what it is like in the Nigerian scene, but I don't know about other places. But then the main thing is, don't keep your money that you want to use to become a millionaire in the bank, because the percentage or the interest you get is next to nothing. The best advice for anybody who wants to grow their money, which we even practicalize in this our initial example of saving, when you decide to start saving 11% of your salary when you're earning 100k, don't save that money in the bank, but instead you'd use high interest platforms like Piggyvest, there's M36, even Bamboo now has an option for you to have like a fixed savings. So these platforms, at least I believe Piggyvest, the last time I checked, it was like 8% per annum. And in our last video, one of our videos, we talked about how don't chase high interest that is not sustainable. So these platforms, 8% is okay. So don't be looking for 20% platforms that you end up losing your money and you don't end up getting it back. With Piggyvest now, at least I use them, it is 8% or 9%, there about 8 to 10. So let's go back to the 120,000 now, because that was what I used in this my calculation, not using the 11%, but instead the 10%. If you now decide to save that your 120,000, or you keep saving it in the account, at the end of the year, which is 8%, you end up getting 9,600 naira as your interest. Money you did not work for. I know you might be looking at me now and telling me that this money is too small. Auntie, uncle, it is not small. You did not work for that money. It is interest that built up over time. So it is free money. So, and to tell you how interesting this is, this basically reduces the number of years you need to save your first million by 0.6 years, because you don't end up making your 6 million in 7.7 years instead of 8.3 years like you would have initially done if you are saving 10% every year. But if you want to use 11%, this might be a little bit different, because now the percentage is different. But for this case study of using a high interest savings account, I used the 120,000 you can save by saving 10% every year, and at the end of the day we got 129,600. You did not work for this money, so it is very good money, very sweet money. So let's move on from that. You can just apply this math however you want in whatever you are earning. It's still the same thing. All that matters is that the more your money compounds, the more your money grows. After all, Albert Einstein said that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. So this is good stuff when somebody like Albert Einstein talks about compound interest. So allow your money to compound and then use platforms that will help you to grow it faster rather than just leaving it in the bank. Yes, your day-to-day money can be left in the bank and you still get interest, maybe little, but the main interest is in these platforms. I'm not recommending anyone to you, but I'm just telling you the ones I've used and how it has helped me to grow my money. So now, the next you have to consider is to automate your savings. So you know how I've just talked about piggyvest now. If you are physically putting this money every month into piggyvest, every month you have to physically put it, like go to your bank app, put it, you will find that you might one day say, oh, today I need to buy this, let me not do this month. I've experienced it. So the easiest way to do this, to avoid any had I known situation, is to automate your savings. Automating means setting in your bank that okay, you are going to be, like banks, platforms like Zenith Bank, they have this schedule your savings or schedule like transfers. So you basically schedule this your transfer so that it automatically goes to the account you want it to go to every month. Instead of physically doing it, it will cut down your ability of saying that, oh no, today I don't want to save because somebody's leg, one leg bent, that kind of thing. So you find yourself automatically saving without having any say in it. Automating your service is very important and it will help you, especially when you are not used to managing money and especially when you have a goal of saving your first million. Last but not the least is reinvesting your interest into your investment or whatever. I talked about, like, I think it was in the last two videos, I talked about how I invested in a printing press, and this has grown from, me initially investing 2 million naira to, 5 million naira. And this was only possible because at the end of every year, I reinvest 20% of what I get as interest back into the, my initial investment. So, and this has now led my investment to growing up to 5 million naira. Because every year, I've told you it's just been 3 years. Every year I reinvest 1 million naira out of the 2 million, after the 5, like 1 million. I keep reinvesting 20% back into the savings. And this has now grown my money to 5 million. From 2 million to 5 million when I did not have any additional money, I did not add any additional capital, just reinvesting 20% of my interest back into the initial investment. So this is something that can help you fasten or hasten your investment. And at the end of the day, you get to that 1 million. Trust me, just get practical with this. You can even write it down on your piece of paper and you see how practical it can be. The more you invest, the lesser the number of years you need to save your first million. Even though you are a beginner, even though you have no money, use the steps that we have laid out and you find that it will make it easier for you to achieve what the main goal is here, which is becoming a millionaire. So guys, I'll see you in my next video. I hope this video was practical and helpful enough for you to kickstart your journey. I hope it can be applied anywhere in the world as well. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.